Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and this is our tips and tricks guide for Android 18 in Dragon Ball FighterZ. So as always, we're going to be covering the character's basic moves, although the support attack being the absolute key defining feature of the character, we'll break it off into its own section here and you can check out the timestamps. I do want to talk about the character's pressure, the character's mix-ups, a couple little nicks and knacks, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So without any further ado, let's get to it. So let's talk about her special and super moves, and once again the support attack, I'll build it off into its own section as it's kind of a big deal. But first let's start with kind of an underwhelming move, honestly. The command grab here, it's quarter circle forward on any of your attack buttons, and it's a command grab, meaning it is an unblockable attack, and she'll just grab you, and it's always a side switcher just so you know, and she'll stomp you. So this is the light version here, this is the medium version, and this is the EX version. And EX afterwards, for your timing, was a little more better than what I can pull off here. There we go. You can also follow up with attack here for the homing dash. Now this move actually used to be a lot better in the pre-release versions of the game, and it was nerfed heavily since then. But yeah, this move's not amazing. To have a command grab is certainly better to not have one, right? But I guess even light version, right? Despite the fact that it is super cancelable on hit, you can't actually connect with a super. You can't combo into a super any way, shape, or form. Like, even if we tried to call in a tag super, right? None of them are going to connect. It just doesn't work. So it is one of the unfortunate truths of this move. The medium one, even though it's a bit slower, you can always like vanish it or something and, you know, get a combo from there. That's something. The medium and heavy versions, though, do have a little bit of a trick to them that if you hold the button, you'll actually just toss them. And if you hold the medium one in specific, when you toss them, it actually does have a wall bounce attached to it. Now it'll bounce up right away, so it can't do too much, but still it's there. It's the same here with the EX. If you hold it, instead of 17 coming out, he will not show up. And the use of these is somewhat dubious, because like in the medium, like, well, yeah, you can vanish, right? But you can vanish anyways and still have 17 connect, and it'll do more damage overall. But yeah, this move, the main use is just to close out a round, because a lot of her offense is going to be using like it's an overhead, double overhead, that kind of stuff, or maybe single. And when you land, then just go for it. And yeah, once again, the range is not very good either. And just get that extra little bit of damage. That might be what you need to close out a round. Next up, the move from her husband, the Destructo Disc. So, Destructo Disc is a guidable move. You can hold it down, you can hold it up, somewhat reminiscent of Kung Lao's hat from the old Mortal Kombat games. But yeah, the lower version, I don't particularly know the use of in this game. I just don't know. All you're doing is crippling the range. It's not like it gives any additional properties or anything, right? The upwards arcing version is probably the one you're going to use most of the time. Now, we're up against a shorter character here, but against a taller character, even from a distance against one of the taller characters, it can actually still connect. So that has some, you know, use. It's a high durability projectile, so it'll trade evenly with beams, Kamehameha, and the like. And the one actual notable thing about this move, and we just set our blocking. So we got the block on here, and this move does more chip than any other special move in the game. Now, it's not the be-all, end-all you can see here, but it is significant. Chip in this game is not amazing. Like, we'll bring in Kid Buu here. Like, that's nothing. That's nothing. And then once again, we bring in Android 18, and yeah, this is many times larger the amount of chip. So, you can't kill with chip in this game, but still, to have this move get blocked has a bit of a penalty to it, because it'll inflict a fair bit of chip damage. Now the barrier, that's down, down, and the S button. So just like the show here, barrier is a pretty indestructible force to be reckoned with here. However, just so you know, it's not going to save you from any supers. Any level 1 or any level 3 is going to blow through it for free, but anything short of that is going to work just fine. So another big thing here to note, it's a decent round starter if like the opponent has some sort of gimmick or whatever, because it'll shut them down, then you get to punish them from going onwards from there. And now another thing to note here is whenever an attack gets blocked with the barrier, you're going to gain quite a bit of bar here. So just something very basic like this. See here, one single hit, we just gain like, what is that, like 30% of a bar? That's a significant amount. And it only gets better because it only scales per hit. It doesn't really care what hit it. So much the same here, we do this. Like that's a heavy versus a jab before, we had the same amount. So When it only cares about per hit, then certain things like this, like the old Vegeta assist here, let's see how that interacts with it. So we're gonna rush here. Oh, hey, look at that. We just gained 2 whole bars from blocking Vegeta. That's huge. 18 has only 1 level 1 super and only 1 level 3 super, but thankfully they're both quite good. Her level 1 will teleport you directly above their head, and she'll cast the beam down at you. And just so you know, this isn't a full screen deal. She has the maximum distance she can travel before she'll do it. So no teleporting full screen to make that work. But one of the really good things about this, for the very fast supers, even the mildly fastest won't apply, but for the very fast supers, you can do her level 1, and let the very, very quick supers actually get 2 reps in. As see here, using Tien, boom, 25 hits. So it only worked for the very fast supers, but just keep it in mind. Besides that, it's a pretty solid super. If you are using it mid-screen, please be aware. So basic combo here, right? Now, if we do this right away, we're going to miss. So what you want to do is just fall with it a bit. Whenever you combo, just fall a little bit and then do it, and then the forward movement always bring you on top of the enemy. Just keep that in mind. Android 18's level 3, the Excel Dance, is both a ground okay and air okay move, meaning you can do it in the air. Now you can see here, it's a nice little tag team attack, and if you have Krillin on your team, Krillin will take the place of Android 17. Now one thing about this move, and we're going to talk about it in its own section here, is the options you have post-knockdown are stronger than average. So we're going to save all that talk because we're going to go over a little bit in its own section. But yeah, this is one of the better level 3s in the game for post-knockdown options. Maybe not quite Bardock good, but still, it's certainly no slouch. Alright, so now let's talk about the support attack. This is technically, if you look at the move list, just one special move, but it's a lot more varied than just that. It's absolutely the core of the character, and it's everything that this character is. So let's just talk about it. So it's quarter circle back and then an attack button, right? So you can do it in the air or ground, and if you do it on the air or ground, the move is going to change, just so you know. So let's just work through the ground stuff first here. This quarter circle back and light. And 17 will come out and do a quick little rushing knee here. Of all the moves, this is probably the least of them. It kind of is not much more than what it just seems. A quick little rush here. And it's not the one you want to use in neutral either, because we'll talk about that in a little bit. We have now quarter circle back and medium. So he'll do a nice little kind of 3-hit combo. The kick here that he does will only come out if the previous hits connect, otherwise he'll just stop. And this is really good. If you can get the enemy locked down long enough to block it, this is fantastic block stun, because like, look how much time here you just got to work with. Even though it's not hitting, so the kick won't come out, but still, you easily lock down the enemy. You got tons of time to move around, just kind of do whatever you want in this situation. Now quarter circle back and heavy, and this is going to be the same in the air as well, just so you know. This is a special one. So what he's going to do here, 17's going to come out and just talk big talk about, you know, oh, don't do this, that, and the other, because I'm waiting here. And what he's talking about is this. So if you do this move here and you call any kind of assist, he's going to say, no, we ain't doing that. He will stop any kind of assist at all. So once again here, we're just going to try to call in our Beerus assist, right? And he says, no dice Beerus. This is a one-on-one fight between 18 and you. You don't get to do nothing. And this does not just apply to assists, just so you know. This also applies to any kind of raw tagging. So we got our assist beat here, but now we're just going to try to tag in Beerus instead of calling the assist. And once you know it, 17 says, no, we ain't doing that either. So as long as 17 is on the screen, nobody else is allowed to basically come in, else they are going to get blasted for basically the same thing as her level 1 super here. So when you have the enemy kind of like pressured against the wall, you know they got a lot of blue health. You can smell they want to tag out. That's just when you summon 17 and just go from there. And if they do manage to tag out, then bingo, bango, bongo, they're going to get blasted. And yeah, this is a really good lockdown as it takes away people's options. And options are the lifeblood of this game. Our final grounded move is quarter circle back and S, and you know, summon 17, you'll just do a rapid fire ki blast. Now you can, you know, join in the fun, I guess, do your own ki blast. This is not one of his better options, but still, if you don't know what to do, trying to fill time, something like that, it is not the worst option you can go for. And now onto the aerial options. The one we have here, of course, will go back and light. It'll have 17 do a rising kick, very similar to Android 18's down and heavy, as you'll see here. And now, this move is actually one of her best mix-up tools, and I know it doesn't look like it, right? Like, how are you mixing up with this weird little donkey kick? Well, the secret of this move is this. So, here, you go hit as normal, and just so you know, when you hit, you can get a bit of a follow-up. And more than just a bit of a follow-up, we can actually get like a full combo here going on. So, now, we're going to do that. We know we hit the same side. That was pretty cool, right? But, and if you just pay attention right there, that was a cross-up. So right here, when you see the enemy changes their sides, they have to block the corresponding side. Now, just to show you this in action, I am going to turn on my inputs just so you can see them. I am down backing. Now I have the enemy play it out, and I just got smacked. So now I'm just going to hold down forward. So if they attack me up front, it'll never work. I'm going to hit every time, right? And that successfully blocked it. So that, in essence, if you can go over their head, is a left-right mix-up. So if you can make them change their angle, that works, and it's a left-right mix-up. So if you do it too slow, you're going to have them pop up on the other side. It's not going to work, right? We're going to talk about it a bit more because it's actually a super key component of the post-level 3 knockdown mix-up game. But yeah, it's a very, very handy tool to say the least. The quarter circle back medium move in the air is Android 18's best move by a mile. So what happens here is she calls 18 and he does a bit of an attack, and this is her best neutral move, her best block string move, her best combo move. It's just kind of her best move all around. So how it works is no matter where you are on screen, 17's gonna pop in like he's Mega Man, dropping down here, and then when he's level with the enemy, that's when he'll begin his attack. So if they're on the ground, he'll attack on the ground. If they're on the air, then he'll begin his attack in the air and all points in between. So this move, once again, good neutral move, or only good neutral move really. It's fantastic for block strings, so we're going to talk about it a lot more in a later section here. But just the fact when you do it, you get to recover in the air. So right here, I'm going to do the move, and I land it with a jab, right? Or I can air dash. Or, you know, I can jump. I can do whatever I want in the air, right? So while they have to deal with 17 attacking them and them blocking, you have complete, full freedom of movement. So you can go high-low, high-low, and all that kind of stuff in between, right? Or heck, you can even land and then just drag and push them or whatever you want, right? It's absolutely best tool. We're going to talk about it in the block string section. We're talking about the snapback section, and all points in between. This is her bread and butter move. So just to quickly talk about some of her normals here, she doesn't have some amazing normals like some of the other characters. That's not necessarily where her strengths lie. But just as a quick note, one, her standing light is an actual low. So if you want to block it, you do gotta block low. I know some people get lazy in block strings, and I'll be the first to admit I'm lazy too. Where like I'll usually wait for like the first 2 or 3 hits, then block low, because you know, I'm always trying to guard against that overhead, and you can't do that the same against 18 because she will clip you low at the start of a block string. So keep that in mind. And actually, here, while we're on this subject here, and actually, I'm just going to tag in the enemy Android 18 to make this a bit easier. So the next move we have to talk about here is their down and S. It's not really much to talk about, at least, you know, visually, right? But it does have one little advantage in that the move is advantage on block. There's not many plus on block moves in this game, and this happens to be one of them. So just to show the old jump test here, as you see here, the enemy 18 jumps way before I do. So you're pretty plus on block, like quite about a large amount. Now, of course, you can like literally just homing dash and all that. Still, you know, it's a basic key blast, you can do all that, but still, it's not an every time tool, but just to bust out every now and then, you know, make people think about what's going on. Advantage on block moves are super rare, and not many people use it. Like, not many people play 18, period, right? So even less people are going to be aware of this, so they're probably going to try to hit a button, and that's when you'll win out. And the final move to talk about here is their down heavy. Now, on its own, it kind of, you know, works like every other down heavy in the game. The thing to note here is when you do it, and then say you special cancel after it, hey, that's the aerial version of the move, right? That's not the grounded version of quarter circle forward, quarter circle back in medium. So it leaves you in an airborne state afterwards. And in this airborne state, since we're calling this, we can kind of go and keep pressure going from here, right? And we kind of just do with whatever we can think of, whatever pressure you would like to prefer to do, but still, we can get a lot of pressure. Now, in this specific situation, yeah, you can get down heavy because there's a fair bit of a gap between the hit and 17 coming in and doing his thing. but still, there's a lot of block strings. We're going to talk about that in the whole pressure section, and this is actually a pretty key tool of hers. Now, to speak on her pressure and mix-up options. So, she's got a lot of pressure, a lot more than the average character. And what you really want to do is kind of expand upon this, is to make sure you got some assists to back you up. Now, she's not too finicky when it comes to the assists, but still, any assist really helps. So, just to show a basic concept, so as we talked about in the normal section here, her down heavy leaves her airborne, meaning she can call 17 and do the airborne version here, which holds the enemy in a fair bit of block stun, and you can also recover in the air, meaning you can get like an air dash, a double jump if you so choose, or you know, we can just land and go right for, you know, try to be a little sneaky and go for a low or something like that, right? But in this specific scenario, you can get down heavied. So just to show an example here. So hey, you know, that didn't quite work out in our favor. So we're using the assist in this specific situation to just cover that little kind of gap where you can get punished and work from there. Now, before we go into more depth about that, I'm just going to show you a basic block string. Maybe it's not the one you want to use, but this one I find kind of universally applicable, going into that down heavy and into that mix-up. So we do something like this, very standard, you know, light, light, down medium, stand medium, and we'll go for that down heavy. Let's see what happens. Oh, what happened there? We just completely whiffed. So what's happening here is that medium actually caused a bit too much pushback. So how do we mitigate that? And the answer is pretty simple. It's all about delaying that medium. So when you delay slightly, you see after the point where she connects, she still moves forward just a little bit. So we're just going to wait a little bit after that stand medium and then go for it. And then, hey, wouldn't you know it, that's all we need to do. So once again, just a very slight delay and then go to your down heavy after that stand medium and all your problems will be solved. So once you summon 17 in this specific block string, that's kind of the easy part. So it doesn't really matter, once again, how we get there. But after that, you can just kind of air dash in. You can do one attack. You can do like double light. You can do one medium. Or you can land. Or you just empty jump. And then, you know, Dragon Rush. There's so many permutations. Now, one of the key things about this particular block string is you got to make it airtight. And this is where you're going to need the assist. Because by herself, the enemy can just like mash, deflect, and get out of all of it, and they don't gotta worry, or God forbid they level 3 right through it. So this is where the assists come into play, and each character, because assists have different startup, different block stun, all that kind of stuff, you're gonna have to learn the timings. So I'm just gonna walk you through using Kid Buu as an example here, because he's got one of the better block stun assists in the game. So first up, what we're gonna do is change our block stun settings here to guard first only. So if it's a true block string, they'll block everything, right? But if there's any kind of gap, they'll stop blocking and then they'll get hit. So if you see that happen, you know you were too slow, or otherwise just there was a gap in your block string, meaning they could have reflected through it, or, you know, at worst situation, they level 3 right through your stuff. So you want to keep it a true block string just to keep the whole mix-up intact to get your full combo. Because, you know, you can just like connect with this, I guess, and that'll hit and you'll get your little bit of damage, but we're looking for bigger damage than that. So with Kid Buu as our example, what I want to do here is you want to call him right when that stand medium hits. And then just kind of do business as usual from there. As here, that was all one successful block string, right? If there was any kind of gap, what would happen instead, even if you're just slow on like this basic part here, you just would have got smacked. So that's all an airtight block string. And from which, after 17 is called in, you air dash in, you do whatever mix-up you can think of that'll try to break open the enemy. Now, say for someone like Tian, it's going to be a lot more difficult. You are going to have to work around both, you know, the different timing, right? Because every character has different timing, and both the startup and also the duration of the block stun. Because, you know, obviously Tian doesn't have the same amount of block stun as Majin Buu does, and not every character is going to be as equally applicable. But for the characters you choose for your assists in this particular block string, you're just going to have to manually figure out the timing, and that kind of sucks. You know, I don't got a magic answer for you in that regard, but just figure out where timing is. Once again, practice with guard first only on your guard. So whenever there is a gap, you'll know where the gap was. Because if there's a gap, that's when it's going to connect. And then you'll know exactly where the hole in your offense is and work from there. And of course, calling 17 for pressure is not just limited to block strings. Also, she has some of the best post-knockdown pressure options in the game. If anything is basically this. Just any given knockdown, you can call 17. and up tech, back tech, you know, anything short of just holding down all the way or maybe reflecting on wake up, they're gonna have to block 17. And then from there, you can just kind of do whatever you want pressure-wise, right? So we get a basic knockdown here. We're gonna land. We're gonna call 17, and maybe do the timing a little bit better than I did it. You get the idea, though. And since once again, you can act after you call 17 in the air, you can then just fall and do a jab or medium or whatever, right? You know, you can land, do a low. You can air dash and keep your pressure going that way. There's just a multitude of options. And it's all just off something as basic as knocking the enemy up into the air, and just wait a little bit when they land for a second, jump, call 17, and then just go crazy from there. The enemy, for the most part, unless they really want to, you know, take a risk and do like wake up level 3 or something, they have to, for the most part, submit to the pressure. Now, down teching will defeat most of it, like if you stay down and delay your wake up. But still, if you know the enemy's going to do that, there's still options around it. And you can just wake up and hit them with a media on their wake up. But still, the pressure off that and also off a snapback, which we'll talk about in its own section because there's a lot of layers to this, it's just fantastic and just off the charts. The jumping medium call of 17 is easily her best move. So Android 18 can actually quite easily cause snapbacks by herself. You don't need to spend the bar on the Vanish and the Dragon Rush and all that. She can do it completely solo. So just to show an example here, you can do any given corner combo here, into a down heavy, then call the medium version of 17, and see there, he'll just come in. And all you have to do after that is Dragon Rush. Now keep in mind, you can act and hit the button if you don't want to mash, even though mashing does work. You can act when 17 does his first hit, and then you go right into the Dragon Rush. And from there, not only can she self-Dragon Rush, she actually has excellent options for the enemy to block, and because you have to block, because we're going to call 17 right away again. So we're just going to show the example here. We're going to force the snapback here, and I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. Now we're going to call 17 again, and see they wake up right into it. Actually, it's a little bit slow there, but the idea here is both hits of 17 are going to connect, and they have to take it on the way down, or, you know, they can just get hit if they want, right? And you can just really kind of smack them around and bully them from there. So let's talk about her options after her level 3 super. And now, just so you know, even if you do level 3 super in the corner or in the air or whatever, it actually always kind of has a fixed amount of space between you and the foe. So we're doing it in the corner, and see here, we're just kind of this far away. The enemy's not quite in the corner, and no matter where we are, it's always going to be the same story. So when you do this, we got a couple of options here. The easiest one is just hold directly up and forward a diagonal jump, like I'm holding it right now, and just jump right as you go, and we're going to land right on top of the enemy. Pretty easy peasy. Now from this, we're going to have a lot of meaty timing to work with. So if we just do this forward jump and land, nothing else, right? And just immediately go for stand light kicks. We're always going to beat up any offensive option other than, you know, an invisible move or reflect. Now, from this as well, we can also do something like this, where we're going to just hold up forward, and right before we land, we are going to air dash right before we land, and then get an aerial move. And we can do that. Now, the option to just do heavy from, or, you know, a light or a medium or whatever, just from that jump, you actually will miss as they wake up, just so you know. So the mix-up and just a regular up-forward jump is just, I'm either going to land in low, or right before I land, I'm going to air dash and go for an aerial attack. If you slightly delay, you actually will be able to get a regular aerial move off, but then the empty jump into the low will no longer be able to beat up like a wake up button, so just keep that in mind. Now, we still have more options yet. As we talked about in the assist section here, or rather the 17 assist section, we have a left-right mix-up off this move here, where we jump forward, and then the enemy has to guess left-right if you do it correctly. So right there, as you saw, you got it. It's kind of strict. You can actually totally miss the timing if you jump over their head a little bit too much, but if you time it perfectly, you hit a cross-up, just like right there, and then you can go right into a combo. So we're just going to show an example here of me doing the level 3, and I'm going to hit the cross-up version of the move, and of course, you can also hit the same side if they expect the cross-up, right? But a cross-up version of the move, and one of the benefits of this is the cross-up version will beat any wake-up reflect, and it will beat any wake-up level 3, And the same side version, while it won't be to reflect, because they'll just reflect 17, it'll also leave you safe from any potential level 3 they go for. And from there, as you can see, we can just kind of go from there. And since you did a level 3 and probably maybe some sort of combo beforehand, especially have an extra bar after this mix-up, you might have a dead character on your hand. So it is super handy in that regard. So as you can see here, we have high, low, and left, right from the mix-up. And of course, as you run forward and if they're anticipating that left, right, you can just drag and rush them, right? So to quickly talk about her assist is a very non-standard assist by how this game works. So she'll come and do her barrier move. Now just so you know, the assist version, she ain't going to quite gain the bar that her standing version does by herself. But still, what it does is it'll absorb hits. And while you can kind of just do it like, oh, I'm just going to do this in a shell, a defensive thing, like I don't know what to do, so I'm just going to defend myself, it totally works in that regard. But also has a lot of offensive applications where it can make moves that are not necessarily punishable on block, but negative on block, quote-unquote even or plus on block. So I got an assist example here using Tien. So Tien is going to do a little bit of a block string, go for his volleyball fist, which is safe on block, and then try to keep attacking again. Now, volleyball fist is safe, but it's negative. So if we keep trying to attack again here, and now I'm just gonna win. Like I'm gonna hit my button, it's my turn, right? So the use of the 18 assist here is not so much in like, you know, doing big combos or something like that. It's going to be in stealing turns. So now we're in the corner. We're going to do the exact same setup we had before. And let's see what happens when I just try to mash jab after Tien does his negative on block move. Oh, here we go. Oh, what happened? We're getting hit. What happened there? We're going to try it again. They might have screwed up, right? No, I didn't screw up. So what happened there? Well, 18's barrier tanked my hit. And then I'm, you know, mashing. I'm trying to do something, right? But then Tien's going to recover in time. And then beat the bupkis out of me, right? So, once again here, we're in the corner just because Tien, his slide will move the character a bit forward here and kind of leave 18 out of range a little bit, as you can see here outside of the corner. And then we can just do whatever, fine. And that's just a Tien specific example. There's examples for basically every single character you can think of, right? So that is the hidden true secret power of the 18 assist. As a purely defensive tool, it's not that good, honestly. But when it comes to like stuff like stealing turns, doing things that, you know, you should stop moving after you got blocked, but 18 says, no, let's have one more round, right? I'm going to protect you from whatever should be hitting you on the way back, and go from there. And also, on top of that, so for Dragon Rush, you can either Dragon Rush yourself or hit any attacking button, and you'll tech a Dragon Rush. So right there, I just hit jab, right? So 18 lets you circumvent that. So if you try to hit a button to get out of the Dragon Rush, instead of hitting Dragon Rush, you're going to hit the 18 barrier. Meaning, you now remove that as an option. So the only way, if you're trying to Dragon Rush someone in the corner, to tech a Dragon Rush is to Dragon Rush yourself now. So if someone likes to hit buttons to tech Dragon Rushes, just so you know, while you cannot prevent them from teching it, if they do not attempt to tech it with the Dragon Rush themselves, they will get thrown, and that's another very handy use of the 18 assist. Now, on to just kind of the generalized gameplay of Android 18. Honestly, it is my opinion that she should probably be the point character on your team. As we just went over in the assist section, you know, her assist has some uses, but it's just not, you know, overwhelmingly useful like, you know, Kid Buu or any kind of beam or anything like that, right? She definitely would like some assist to help plug some of the holes in her neutral game, because she doesn't have too much of a neutral game other than summoning medium 17, which is, well, alright, not amazing. She can use either 17 to get a barrier, or barrier herself to get some extra bar from people who just want to toss rando key blasts and all that. Or maybe you catch that surprise Vegeta assist, and it fills you up your meter very nicely with his assist, right? Because as we went over in earlier in the video, the Vegeta assist will give you like 2 full bars if you manage to barrier it. But besides that, like, her basic key blast is kind of ho-hum. Aerial key blast not so good. Like, she can kind of fling herself at you with, like, you know, medium into like the old classic block string here, medium light and the heavy or whatever, right? But besides that, she's only real way in is to get in. Her whole game plan is the mix-up. The part where she gets in the mix-up, she can struggle a little bit, especially compared to some better characters like, like a Kid Buu or something, or someone who's just way more aggressive than her, like a Bardock. But once she's there, that's her strength. We covered all these sections, right? Her block strings, especially with the right assist to cover the little gap in her offense. She gets to do kind of high lows all the time. Maybe it's not as good as like, the Cell / Kid Buu / Gotenks, perfect attack mix-up. But still, it's pretty alright. She's not as strong as the character Zoe's. Maybe if you're watching this at a future time, there's been a balance patch and she's, top tier or bottom tier, who knows. But right now, she's pretty alright. Definitely her strength lies in all manner of 17 calls here. The medium being the best one. So she can use her block string to get her pressure, get her high-low game from there. She can cover pretty much most wake-up options by calling 17 and keep the pressure ongoing. Pressure is the name of her game. So maybe you want to pick an assist that just helps her neutral a little bit to help her get to where she's going, help her get that knockdown, get that pressure going. You can't go wrong with Vegeta. Beam assist isn't too bad. A character like Kid Buu, his assist will definitely help with her actual pressure, as it'll leave the least amount of gaps and all that kind of stuff. And of course, he's a pretty solid character herself. Now, we did talk about earlier, and just like the basic move section here, her super, while not as good as, say, Kid Buu's, does allow for some characters to get double supers. You're going to have to do the faster characters, because even someone who's in the quote-unquote fast character category, like say Nappa, some people let him get double super, right? Hers is not going to be holding the enemy in place long enough for someone like Nappa to get double super, but someone like Tien or say a Vegeta or something, someone with very snap quickie supers, they will be able to benefit from her level 1 super in that regard. So the name of the game here is just getting that first hit. Ideally, it's the first actual hit and you go into a combo, right? But getting that first hit into a block is still not bad, because ideally, that's just where your pressure is beginning. And even though they're blocking, they're still not necessarily out of the can opener. So I do think, once again, she should be point, and she should have 2 assists that can help her out in that regard. She also benefits pretty decently, especially in the corner, from recombo assists. So say like, a beam or a pop-up or something like that, she can actually make fairly good use of it and get a good extra chunk of damage, so also keep that in mind. But yeah, all about the pressure, all about the mix-ups, all about just getting that can opener option. Sadly, her mix-ups are still not among the best in the game, like Cell and Gotenks, Kid Buu, definitely beat her there. But that's what she has, so that's what we got to work with, so please try to focus your gameplay and your team around that. And so concludes our guide. So Android 18 is definitely all about the pressure mix-ups. She doesn't have the best neutral, she doesn't have the best buttons, but she definitely has above average pressure. And that's where her bread is going to be buttered, and that's what you want to be working towards. Once again, I do think she should be the point character team. I kind of want to harp on that, because as, anything but the point, her assist, while it has some uses, and we had a whole section about it, it's still kind of edge case. It's not going to be universally applicable like, say, something like this is going to be, right? So she benefits just from being the point character, having 2 assists to work with when it comes to pressure, because that's where you get the most opportunity to break someone in the middle of a block string or, any kind of gimmick or whatever. So I think that's what you should be focusing on. But anyways, that's it for this video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Dragon Ball.